Aaron wakes up at 5:30 a.m. in his small Brooklyn apartment. The first pale light slips through the thin curtains as he swings his legs over the side of the bed. He glances at his phone and sees a message from Emily. Coffee later? He breathes in deep, already feeling the familiar mix of excitement and nerves. He throws on a wrinkled shirt and jeans, then pads across the creaky wooden floor to the kitchenette. The framed acceptance letter from Digitronics, the tech startup he dreamed about since college, sits on the counter. Aaron crouches down to refill his water bottle, his heart catching for a moment when he catches sight of it. He traces the bold date at the bottom, just 2 months ago, before shifting his gaze to the coffee maker. He loads a fresh pod, presses the button, and watches the amber liquid drip. As the coffee brews, he scrolls through emails on his laptop. There's a message from his lead engineer praising last night's code commit. Another reminder about the team meeting at 9. He taps a quick reply, then grabs his travel mug. The apartment feels too quiet without the hum of his old laptop. He sets the mug on the counter, hesitates, and then snaps a photo to send to Emily. On the subway platform, Aaron's knuckles whiten around the mug as he waits for the train. The rumble grows louder and a crush of commuters surges forward when the doors open. He steps inside, clutches a pole, and lets the train carry him through dim tunnels. He swipes through photos of his and Emily's weekend trip to the botanical gardens. Her laughing as a pigeon bobbed its head, him pointing out a rare black tulip they discovered together. Halfway through the ride, he slips on his headphones and listens to their favorite playlist. The melodies remind him how his chest feels lighter whenever he's with her. Across from him, a businessman in a tailored suit types furiously on tablet. Aaron wonders what it's like to be that focused, that committed to a path. The thought resurfaces during every code review and every late-night hack session, but today feels different. Stepping off at Metropolitan Avenue, he spots Emily already at Cafe Verde, her auburn hair catching the morning light. She waves, and he waves back, sliding into the booth opposite her as soon as he orders his usual oat milk latte. She's animatedly describing a mural she wants to paint on her friend's studio wall, gesturing with her coffee cup. Aaron listens, captivated by the way her ideas flow. By the time he finishes the latte, he's running late for work. He grabs his bag, leans in for a quick hug, and promises to text at lunch. As he hurries out, Emily calls after him, "Don't work too hard." He laughs, but the words echo in his mind. At Digitronics' glass-fronted doors, he pauses, heart pounding. He smooths his shirt, straightens his shoulders, and steps inside, determined to balance the job he loved with the life he longed for. Aaron steps into Digitronics' open office and heads straight for his desk. His teammates greet him with nods and brief smiles. At 9:00 a.m. sharp, the lead engineer calls for the daily stand-up meeting. Everyone gathers around the sleek conference table. Aaron glances at the whiteboard filled with sprint goals. When it's his turn, he gives a concise update on the new interface module he's developing. His voice is steady, but inside he feels a flutter every time someone mentions deadlines. Back at his desk, Aaron opens his project tracker and starts reviewing code comments from last night. As he scrolls, he catches sight of a notification on his phone. Emily just sent a photo of the mural sketch she's been working on. He taps the screen and studies the bold strokes of blue and gold. He smiles so softly that a coworker glances over, eyebrow raised. Aaron quickly minimizes the image and refocuses on his code. By mid-morning, the hum of conversations and clacking keyboards fills the room. Aaron pairs up with his assigned partner to debug a tricky error. They lean in together, scanning lines of code. His partner points out a missing semicolon that caused unexpected behavior. Aaron laughs and thanks him, feeling grateful for teamwork. Still, an undercurrent of anticipation pulses in his chest. He wonders how Emily will react when he shares his new plan for the weekend. Around noon, he grabs his travel mug and heads to the cafeteria. The line moves slowly, but he spots his favorite maple-glazed donut in the display. He tucks it into a napkin and carries his lunch to an empty table by the window. He texts Emily, "Saturday art market?" and watches as the 3 little dots appear, then vanish. She replies almost instantly, "Would love to. His donut tastes a bit sweeter." The afternoon brings a critical code review session. The lead engineer reviews Aaron's pull request with detailed feedback. Aaron listens carefully, taking notes on suggested optimizations. When they ask for questions, Aaron raises his hand. He clarifies a point about the data model and earns a nod of approval. The praise is satisfying, but he can't shake the thought of Emily's laughter echoing inside a converted warehouse lined with campuses. As the sun begins to dip, the office lights glow brighter. Aaron packs up his laptop into his backpack. His phone buzzes with a final message from Emily, "Meet at 7. He taps back, "Absolutely." Leaving Digitronics, he steps onto the bustling street. The transition from tech hub to city sidewalk feels invigorating. At 7:00 p.m., he arrives at the pop-up art market in Williamsburg. Booths line the cobblestone street, each one lit by strings of fairy lights. Emily waits by her friend's table, paint splatters on her jeans and a contented smile on her face. She waves, and Aaron's heart lifts. They walk together through stalls featuring pottery, photography, and live music. She explains the inspiration behind each piece with enthusiasm, and Aaron listens as though the entire world has narrowed to her voice. Later, they share a slice of pizza on a nearby bench. The city skyline glitters behind them. Emily asks about his day, and he describes the code review and the debugging victory. She laughs at his animated retelling, and for a moment, the uncertainties about work and future fade away. In that warm evening light, Aaron realizes that balancing his dream job and this new love will take effort, but it already feels worth it. Aaron wakes early the next morning and steps onto the fire escape outside his apartment. He turns on his phone's flashlight and scrolls through the code repository on the device, reviewing a bug fix he drafted late last night. He taps a quick note to himself, "Optimized loop here." Below that, he sees Emily's good morning selfie, warm light on her face as she sips tea in her studio. He smiles, pockets the phone, and heads back inside. By 8:30 a.m., he's in the cafe near Digitronics, sipping black coffee while typing an email to a potential sponsor for Emily's upcoming gallery show. He realizes he's become her unofficial manager, sending invitations, arranging lighting, drafting social media posts. He checks the time and rushes downstairs, blazer slung over his shoulder, to catch the subway. At work, the office feels more crowded than usual. The lead engineer announces a surprise late-evening hackathon to prototype a new feature. Aaron glances at the clock. It overlaps with Emily's opening night preparations. He clenches his jaw, then raises his hand. "I'd like to help," he says, voice steady. He watches Emily's face flash in his mind, painting murals, guiding volunteers, preparing wine glasses. Throughout the day, he alternates between focused coding sessions and distracted glances at his watch. During lunch, he sits alone in the cafeteria corner, drafting an apology text to Emily in his head. He imagines her saying, "I'll understand," but also senses her disappointment. He taps out a draft. "I'll be at the gallery by 9. He deletes it, then rewrites, "I'll do my best." At 5:00 p.m., the hackathon begins. Teams huddle around monitors, whiteboards fill with diagrams, and energy crackles in the room. Aaron pairs with a colleague who's late on their own project deadline. They collaborate smoothly, clicking and typing in sync. Mid-session, his phone vibrates. "Can we talk? It's Emily." He swipes to reply. "Not now. Busy with work. Call after?" He hesitates, then presses send. Guilt twists his stomach. As the evening wears on, the team hits a stumbling block in integrating the new API. Aaron's colleague suggests taking a break. The group steps outside onto the terrace where the city lights shine. Aaron stands by the railing, phone in hand, weighing options. He watches his team brainstorming, sees how much they need his input, but also remembers Emily's quiet voice on yesterday's walk, saying, "We built something together, remember?" He returns to his desk and pitches a solution, a simplified data model that sidesteps the tricky endpoint. The lead engineer nods and checkpoints the code. Success. His pulse quickens at the thought of a tech victory, but the clock reads 8:30 p.m. He packs up his laptop, thanks everyone, and rushes out. At the gallery, Emily waits under a string of spotlights, surveying guests. When Aaron slips in, she turns, relief and mild frustration mixing on her face. He steps forward, his heart pounding, and offers a small bouquet of wildflowers he grabbed on the way. She takes them, voice soft. "You made it." They walk through the exhibit side by side, pointing out her favorite pieces. Aaron listens intently, vowing to find a balance between code and canvas. In that crowded room of art lovers and critics, he realizes that choosing Emily and her world is as meaningful as any career milestone. Aaron walks into Digitronics' lobby just before 9 on Tuesday morning. He carries a single sheet of paper in his hand, a short resignation letter he typed the night before. The glass doors slide open, and he steps into the bright, open workspace. Coworkers glance up from their desks as he passes by. At his manager's office, he knocks once and enters. She looks up from her monitor, surprised to see him so early. Without hesitation, Aaron places the letter on her desk. "I've decided to move on," he says quietly. His voice is steady, but his heart pounds. She picks up the paper, reads it, and gives a small nod. He offers a brief apology for any inconvenience, then turns and leaves. If you're enjoying this real-life twist, don't forget to subscribe for more stories. He walks through the rows of desks, noticing the usual morning chatter, the hum of keyboards, half-finished cups of coffee, and whiteboards filled with sprint tasks. He stops briefly at his favorite teammate's station. "I'm going to miss our pair programming sessions," he says, and she smiles sadly. He gives her a quick fist bump, then continues toward the exit. Outside, the city air feels cooler than he remembered. He takes a deep breath and folds the letter into his pocket. On his way to the subway, he pulls out his phone and dials Emily's number. She picks up on the second ring. "I did it," he says, voice soft with relief. She laughs, a sound that makes his chest feel lighter. They plan to meet later that evening to celebrate. That afternoon, he spends time packing up his desk. He carefully coiled cables, boxed old prototypes, and cleared personal photos from his monitor. Each item carries a memory. Late-night debugging sessions, animated discussions about user experience, a card from a coworker wishing him luck. He takes a last look around and catches eye contact with a few colleagues. They give him thumbs up and waves. He smiles, grateful for their support. Leaving the building, he notices how the city seems to shift around him. Cars glide by, pedestrians hurry past, and the skyline stretches unchanged. He feels both unsteady and free at the same time. He sends a quick text to Emily. "I'm officially done here." She responds with a string of emojis, clapping hands, fire, and hearts. In the evening, Aaron meets Emily at their favorite rooftop bar. Fairy lights twinkle above them, and the sun dips below the horizon. He orders them 2 glasses of lemonade, her favorite, and thanks her for believing in him. She reaches across the table and takes his hand. "You chose what matters most," she says, "and I'm so proud." Aaron smiles, feeling warmth spread through him. They talk long into the night, planning their next steps. He mentions ideas for small community projects that blend his coding skills with her creative vision. She sketches mural concepts on a napkin, and he offers to build a website to promote her art. Their laughter mingles with music drifting up from the street below. As they leave, Aaron realizes that giving up his dream job was not the end of his journey, but the start of something new. He walks her home under streetlights, thinking about possibilities and challenges ahead. He holds her hand tightly, knowing that together they can build a life that combines passion, partnership, and purpose. Aaron wakes up to the buzz of his phone and reaches for it on the bedside table. Overnight, his story has gone viral. He sees dozens of notifications, Twitter threads debating his decision, Instagram reposts of a clip from a lifestyle blog, and messages from friends asking how he feels. He rubs his eyes and scrolls through the headline. "Black man left his dream job for her. White girl said that was his choice." The phrase has taken on a life of its own, branded on memes, shirts, and even a short hashtag campaign. Over coffee, Aaron reads comments that range from supportive to critical. One comment applauds his commitment to love over career, saying this is the real #life goals. Another accuses him of irresponsibility, warning that you can't live on love and noodles forever. He breathes out slowly, remembering Emily's voice on the rooftop, reminding him that every choice carries risk. Tess, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for the full story. By mid-morning, the lifestyle blogger reaches out to him for a follow-up interview. She wants to know how he's handling the pressure and what advice he'd give to others facing a similar crossroads. Aaron agrees, curious to control his own narrative. He practices answers. Love asks me to step out of my comfort zone, and true partnership means building together, even when it's scary. He sends off his replies and feels a mix of relief and anxiety. Later, he meets Emily at the community bookstore where she's showing her art prints. The shop's owner has set up a small display of her work, and several people gather around congratulating her on the attention. Emily smiles brightly but looks tired. She pulls Aaron aside and says quietly, "I'm proud of us, but some of this attention is overwhelming." He nods and takes her hand, grateful for her honesty. They decide to take a walk along the canal. As they stroll, Aaron points out messages on cafe windows that say, "That was his choice," in bold lettering. Emily laughs a little, shaking her head. "It's everywhere," she says. He pulls her close and replies, "Let's make it ours." They talk about launching a joint project, a weekend pop-up where he teaches basic coding, and she leads quick painting workshops, lending their talents in a positive way. In the afternoon, Aaron heads to a small podcast studio for the interview. The host greets him warmly and asks about the moment he handed in that resignation letter. Aaron retells the scene matter-of-factly, emphasizing that it wasn't impulsive, but a decision made after months of reflection. He clarifies that the choice came from a place of shared dreams, not from giving up. After the recording, he steps outside and sees his reflection in the glass doors. He straightens his shirt and feels proud of his story, flaws, doubts, and all. That evening, he and Emily host a live Q&A on social media. Questions pour in. How did you manage bills? Do you regret leaving your job? What's next for you two? They answer honestly, trading playful banter and thoughtful insights. By the end, the tone shifts from controversy to camaraderie. Viewers applaud their openness and the genuine teamwork on display. As they log off, Aaron leans into Emily and says, "We turned the headline into a conversation." She smiles and replies, "And now it's our story." Together, they close their laptops and walk home, ready for the next chapter, knowing that every choice they make will be theirs alone. Aaron steps into the small classroom where he's scheduled to teach his first coding workshop of the day. The room smells of fresh paint and chalk dust. Folding chairs line the walls, and a handful of eager students clutching laptops waits for him. He offers a quick greeting, sets up his laptop, and glances at the clock. 10 minutes before start. The morning sun filters through blinds, lighting specks of dust floating in the air. As the session begins, Aaron dives right into creating a simple webpage. Hands shoot up when he asks questions about HTML structure. He moves around the room, crouching beside a student whose code isn't rendering properly. He points out a missing bracket and watches satisfaction spread across the student's face when the page finally appears. Somewhere between demonstrations and troubleshooting, he almost forgets about the rent bill looming over his own head. Yes, if you're enjoying their journey, don't forget to subscribe for more updates. Meanwhile, Emily sets up her easel at a nearby art fair. She arranges pastel prints of cityscapes on a rustic wooden table. Passers-by stop to admire her work. Some ask about frame options. Others compliment the colors. She smiles and thanks them, jotting down orders in a small notebook. Every sale brings a feeling of triumph, but she still wonders if it's enough to cover next month's gallery rent. By early afternoon, Aaron packs up his workshop supplies and hurries to meet Emily at a rented studio space. The building is old, with cracked windows and creaky floors, but it has character and low monthly rent. Together, they unload folding tables, chairs, and art supplies. They greet a handful of community members who signed up for their joint pop-up event, Code Meets Canvas. The sign at the door reads, "Learn to paint a landscape while coding a simple animation." The event starts with Emily guiding participants through basic brush strokes. Bright blues and warm golds appear on canvases. Aaron follows with a live coding demo on a projector, revealing how code can animate the painted scene. Laughter fills the room when a simple mistake causes a digital tree to spin in a dizzying loop. Emily teases Aaron good-naturedly, and he grins back, feeling a surge of pride. As the workshop winds down, they count the day's earnings. It's not a fortune, but it covers the studio rent and leaves enough for groceries. They high-five and collapse onto a battered couch in the corner. Emily pulls out her notebook full of upcoming show ideas. Aaron sketches plans for a mobile version of their event. They talk late into the evening, energized by creative synergy. Walking home under street lights, they realize how far they've come since Aaron's resignation. No luxury dinners, no corporate perks, just two people building something meaningful together. Emily slips her hand into Aaron's and says quietly, "We're creating our own path." He nods, thinking about the challenges ahead: more workshops, tighter budgets, unpredictable schedules. Yet in the rhythm of their steps, he finds confidence. They reach their apartment building and pause by the entrance. Aaron looks at Emily and smiles. "Let's keep going," he says. She squeezes his hand and replies always. Together, they step inside, ready to face whatever comes next, knowing that each choice they make brings them closer to the life they truly want. Aaron arrives home late afternoon to find Emily sitting at the kitchen table, her sketchbook open and her expression serious. He drops his backpack by the door and walks over. She looks up, brushing a stray lock of hair behind her ear. "We need to talk," she says, voice gentle but firm. Aaron pulls out a chair and sits across from her. He notices the soft tension in her shoulders and the way her hands twist a pencil between her fingers. He nods. "What's on your mind?" Emily takes a deep breath. "I love what we're building, but I'm scared," she admits. "We're juggling so many projects and the income isn't steady. What if one day we can't pay rent? What if I let you down?" Her eyes fill with worry. Aaron reaches across the table and takes her hand. His voice is calm. "We've faced uncertainty before," he reminds her. "Remember the first workshop? We didn't know if anyone would show up, but they did. And after that, we found our stride." She nods, but her worry remains. "I know, but back then it was just one event. Now it's our life. What if this isn't enough?" She looks away, tracing patterns on the wooden table. Aaron squeezes her hand. "We chose this path together. Every choice has risk, but we support each other. If something goes wrong, we adapt. That's how we've done it so far." Emily's eyes meet his, and she exhales. "You're right. I just needed to say it." She closes her sketchbook and stands up. "Let's take a break. Dinner?" They prepare a simple meal, pasta and salad, working side by side. The sizzling of garlic in the pan and the clink of utensils fill the quiet kitchen. As they eat, Emily shares new art ideas, a mural project at a local youth center. Aaron asks questions about colors and supplies, then outlines how he can build an online donation page to help fund the mural. She smiles, excitement mixing with relief. After dinner, they clear the dishes and settle on the couch. Aaron pulls out his laptop and opens a document titled Community Projects. He types bullet points: Youth Center Mural, Emily, fundraising page, Aaron, timeline and budget. Emily leans her head on his shoulder, watching the list grow. A few hours later, they head to bed. As they lie in the dark, Emily whispers, "Thank you for listening." Aaron turns to her, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I'll always listen," he replies softly. The next morning, Emily wakes early to paint designs for the youth center wall. Aaron watches her from the doorway, feeling a surge of pride. He grabs his notebook and starts sketching wireframes for a fundraising site. They work in comfortable silence, each absorbed in their craft, but aware of the other's presence. By midday, they pause and compare notes. Emily shows him her vibrant mural sketches, and Aaron demonstrates a clickable prototype of the webpage. They discuss colors, fonts, and layout, refining details until they both smile. Walking to the youth center together, they carry art supplies and a laptop bag. The building's brick walls rise before them, blank and inviting. Emily takes a deep breath. "I'm ready," she says. Aaron nods. They unload their gear and begin. He's setting up the laptop, she unrolling canvases. As paint meets brick, they work side by side, combining creativity and code. Emily's confidence grows with each brushstroke, and Aaron's enthusiasm shines in every keystroke. The wall transforms into a vibrant scene of community and hope. Standing back to admire their progress, Emily smiles at Aaron. "We make a good team," she says. Aaron grins. "The best team." Together, they realize that facing fears and supporting each other is the real masterpiece they're creating. Aaron wakes up early on a Saturday and glances at his phone. Today is the launch of their new community space, a combined coding lab and art studio. He finds Emily already in the kitchen, sipping tea and reviewing a checklist. She hands him a printed schedule. "Today's the day," she says with a grin. Aaron nods, feeling excitement and nerves in equal measure. They arrive at the renovated warehouse just before 9. Volunteers are setting up folding tables, arranging laptops on one side and easels on the other. A banner hangs above the entrance. Code and Canvas Community Launch. Aaron checks the sound system while Emily places potted plants along the windowsill. The building hums with energy as neighbors and curious visitors begin to arrive. At 10, Emily steps forward to welcome everyone. She thanks the local council for support and introduces Aaron. He takes the microphone and shares their journey, from the day he handed in his resignation letter to their first pop-up workshops. His voice is steady, and he watches faces light up at the story of two people building something together. The morning session divides into 2 tracks. In the coding lab, Aaron guides small groups through building a basic website. He moves from desk to desk, offering tips and encouragement. When a student's code fails, he kneels beside them, points out a missing tag, and smiles when the page finally appears. Cheers fill the room. Simultaneously in the art studio, Emily leads participants in painting a collective mural. Each person adds a brushstroke to a rising sun motif. She shares techniques for blending colors and creating texture. Laughter echoes as a child accidentally splatters paint on a friend's apron. Emily gently cleans the spot, and they both laugh together. Around noon, they break for snacks. Aaron and Emily mingle with attendees, answering questions and collecting feedback. A local journalist approaches for an interview. They talk about sustainability, community impact, and the importance of creativity in tech education. The journalist snaps photos as Aaron demonstrates how coding can animate the mural on a large screen. After lunch, they regroup for a collaborative activity. Each coding participant downloads the image of the morning's mural and, with Aaron's help, writes a short script to animate parts of it. Flowers blooming, sun rays extending. Emily stands beside him, explaining how the digital art reflects the painted version. Cheers erupt when the animation loops smoothly. As afternoon light filters through the windows, Aaron checks their attendance numbers. More than 50 people have joined throughout the day, families, students, seniors. Emily tallies art sales and workshop sign-ups. Together, they realize they've covered the day's costs and raised funds for future events. At 5 o'clock, they gather everyone for closing remarks. Emily thanks volunteers and sponsors, then hands the microphone to Aaron. He looks at her and says, "We did this together." The crowd applauds. Aaron adds, "Every choice we made, every risk we took, led us here." As the space empties, they pack up equipment. Volunteers hug them and promise to return. Aaron turns to Emily, voice soft. "This is the start of something bigger." She nods, eyes shining. They lock the doors and step outside into the cool evening air. Walking home, they hold hands. The city lights glimmer, and they share ideas for next month's workshop. Emily sketches themes in her notebook while Aaron outlines new coding modules. They both laugh as they imagine expanding to neighboring communities. Reaching their apartment, Aaron stops and looks at Emily. "We built more than a space today," he says. She smiles and replies, "We built a home for creativity." Together, they walk inside, ready to rest and to dream up their next adventure.